Justice. Defendant Anon, otherwise known as the man without a shadow, you are being charged by the highest court in this land with the kidnapping of the princess and soon-to-be high priestess Aluma. How do you so plead? The justice of the realm presided over the crowded courtroom from an elevated dais. To her right sat the emperor and empress. Not guilty, your honor. He's lying, roared the emperor. There was a blind fury in his eyes that bordered on madness. Let's let the record show that the defendant is lying, the justice instructed a scribe who was keeping the record of the trial. This is preposterous, your honor, Anon said. I am the man without a shadow. I am the one who's supposed to save the high priestess. Why would I kidnap her? Silence, the justice shouted. The prosecution will present its case. Then you will have a chance to respond. A short, ebullient man stepped into the center of the courtroom. Your honor, your majesties, he said, bowing first to the justice, then to the royal company. People of the realm, you see before you the vicious criminal who, not 4 days ago, broke into the castle and kidnapped the high priestess. A collective gasp emanated from the crowd. It is true, he appears to be the man without a shadow, but I ask you, could this not be some dark sorcery designed to deceive us? Anyone capable of penetrating such a heinous crime is surely in touch with dark magics. I am convinced beyond a shadow of doubt, no pun intended, that this is the man who abducted the princess and who is currently holding her captive. But do not take my word for it. I call Relias Strauss to the stand. The gaunt, wiry man from the stables approached the stand and took a seat in the witness box. Mr. Strauss, I understand you used to be the high priestess's personal servant. Is this true? Yes, it's true. Louder, the justice commanded. Relias Strauss cleared his throat. It's true, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear in the courtroom. I took care of her since she was little. And what is it that you do now? The prosecutor questioned. I muck the stalls in the royal stables, he replied. Why is that, Mr. Strauss? Because His Majesty no longer trusts me to work in the castle. And I understand that being demoted was not the worst thing that happened to you. That's right, said Relias. I was tortured to within an inch of my life for knowledge of the princess's whereabouts. Ladies and gentlemen of the realm, this man lost his livelihood, his dignity, and was tortured and nearly died because of what he witnessed. Mr. Strauss, can you walk us through the details of what happened the night of Princess Aluma's abduction? Yes. It was a day like any other. I had presided over the royal family's dinner. After Aluma retired to her bedroom, Her Majesty instructed me to bring the princess a cup of calming tea to combat the nightmares she had been having. However, when I arrived at the princess's room, the window was thrown open and a powerful wind had set the room astray. On the sill stood a man with a terrifying look in his eye. The princess was nowhere to be seen. I ran to accost the man, but he disappeared out the window before I could catch him. And Mr. Strauss, is that man in the courtroom right now? Yes, it's him, Relias proclaimed, pointing directly at Anon. He kidnapped the princess. A loud murmuring erupted from the courtroom. Bastard! The emperor shouted. The empress wept uncontrollably at his side. Order, order in the court, the justice commanded as she smacked her gavel on the podium. Does the prosecution have anything left to add? I rest my case, your honor. The prosecutor and Relias Strauss returned to the table on the other side of the courtroom from which they had came. Defense, it is now your turn to plead your case. As far as Anon could tell, no lawyer had been appointed to represent him. Your honor, he said, I do not know who that servant saw, but it wasn't me. I am a stranger in this land. I only arrived here yesterday. It could not have possibly been me. Where is it that you hail from, Anon? I I do not know, Your Honor. I have no memory before I arrived in your realm. That's exactly something a kidnapper would say, shouted Relias. Order, the justice said. Is that to say, Mr. Anon, that you cannot account for your activities of 4 days ago? Well, I mean, no, no, Your Honor. Well, you have no alibi for your whereabouts on the night that the princess was abducted. No, Your Honor. Then I have made my decision. This court finds the defendant, Anon, a man without a shadow, guilty of the highest level of treason, kidnapping and abduction of a royal family member. Anon, you are hereby sentenced to hang from the foot for 3 days. If you do not provide any information that leads to the return of the high priestess at the end of the third day, you will be put to death.